you remember what a live services is? What live services means?
Yeah, I probably have a little grasp about it, but
Right,
I understand like the meaning about it.
right. What is it?
Yeah, it's like about when like certain companies like Rockstar, like for example like GTA, like they bring out a game, and they have the concept ready for it, but they hold it back to make money with it later,
Mm. It is a part of that, but
something like
it
that.
is a business plan. You're right. You're getting on the right tracks. It's a business plan where they make a game, they hold the content back, they release it after, like you said. But the thing that you left out was they plan to drag out the game for years, and with the content that they put out, they make it all free, updates later,
Yeah,
and they put in microtransactions that they claim you don't have to pay for, but it will support being able to make future free updates, which is why people look at them as a good person because they're making it for free, right? And they're giving you
yeah,
the option to pay for it. So, like, it's kind of like a donation kind of thing. So they get that kind of feeling. They connect it to a donation, you know? And it's like, no, it's not a donation. They're not good.
it's
They're just
not.
trying to
Yeah,
manipulate you into paying. And they're not releasing any new content. They're just reusing assets, you know? So,
yeah, like the
so, alright, the first
like
thing is, they got this strategy, this business plan.
yes,
I'm sorry, your mic cut off there, so I just interrupted. So they got this business plan, right, from
okay,
a thing that I linked before, the turning players into payers scheme, which is just a fucking meme at this point, right? Which comes from mobile gaming's
yeah,
free-to-play market, which usually people accept because, you're getting the game for free, the base game, and then you're paying extra for more content and to be able to support the actual game itself. Like this game, for instance, is free to play, and you know,
yeah.
so it makes sense for a free to play game.
Is
But the thing
is
is,
that
you're paying full price. You're paying the full 60 for it. This is what we call premium. What is that? Free? Yeah, premium. What was that? I forget
all
what Jim
greeting?
Sterling
Yeah,
always
yeah,
calls
say
it.
that.
It wasn't yeah, freemium. That's it. Yeah, it's like a fucking freemium game. It's like
Yeah,
it's not free to play. You're paying $60, so you shouldn't have this free to play business strategy within your game. We should just get all the content straight out the Oh my god.
and the funny thing is like in GTA, like you're paying besides the $60, it supposedly is possible like to get all the content that they update.
Oh,
If you
they
pay
do.
certain
They
game.
do. But the
Yeah,
thing is, with that
but
again, sorry,
uh,
you go. Yeah,
oh yeah, like how much will it take you just to get like certain car or house or
well, when
anything
I
you
was
want?
grinding,
It
the
takes
thing
a
is, the
lot.
first thing is you gotta get the bloody says, MC or CEO. Like a lot of YouTubers, just about every single GTA YouTuber out there has complained about the microtransactions in that game. And GTA is one of the first live services which doesn't refer to itself as a live service because it was before live services, the term came up. But the
Yeah.
thing is, with that, you're right, it takes a long time, and that's getting onto one of the points that I was going to mention actually, is they're less being games. Like if you listen to the word live services, it's not a game, and that term later was changed into games as a service, which I don't call it that because they're not fucking games. They're work. They're not games. So, and that's the problem. People hear that and they're like, well, it's not a game, so I don't know what it is. It's intimidating, and the thing with GTA is a lot of people say it just feels like I'm logging in to work. I'm putting in the hours of grinding just to be able to get this new car that I'm not even going to be able to use much because there's going to be grievers
Oh
that will just
yeah.
blow it up and it won't be relevant to the next work for the next update. And even if you do pay, another thing is, even if with GTA specifically, not all games, most of them do this, but with the microtransactions that you spend, let's look at the prices that you get here. Like I've talked about it before when I was talking about why I sold GTA, but with the prices, there's
Oh,
one that you can spend at $25, one that you can spend at 50, and one that you spend at $100 for the in-game currency, because that's how live services go. They usually go off in-game currency, which I've said again, just like microtransactions or anything. Like, there's always that little leftover cash that is like,
yeah.
oh, you know, you got a bit more every time you log in, you know, you can just check out the store page, see what you get, you know. It's kind of that. But wait, there's more kind of strategy. Hang on, I'll give you this. And then take that. Oh, I can drop that as well.
Always God. Yeah.
So, it's just manipulative tactics
Oh
to,
yeah.
get money
No,
off you, and it's real scummy. But, yeah, it's like you're logging into work, you know? People
no,
don't
I
want to
think
play
I hate
with it.
too.
It just makes people sick. It doesn't make people want to keep playing, you know? People that play GTA, the GTA community is all fucked up, half because the only people that do it are either ones that are spending their whole fucking life trying to get new content, or people that are sick of that and just want to fuck with people. That's why the community is so fucking toxic right
Yeah.
now. Because the only sort of community that it, you know, benefits is the griever, you know? And everyone's talked about that over and over again in the community.
Yeah.
You know, with all the releases, all the updates, they just buy one DLC, get one grievance tool, and just fuck around with that. Because otherwise, you're just wasting your whole fucking life trying to get all the content, which isn't even content. Again, because they just reuse assets that were present
And
in
even
the
money
game
too.
from the moment they made the game, and they just keep releasing it over and over again. You know, there's a difference with microtransactions.
Yeah.
There's a difference between DLC, which is downloadable content, and microtransactions, which usually is you paying for something
Yeah.
in game, just a paywall, right? But microtransactions, the biggest thing, the reason why every game that hears it, they cringe and they're just disgusted. Like, it's like a sexual disease to gamers, is because they are there to manipulate. They are there to take advantage of you and get money from you. So that's why everyone hates them, myself included. So that's why everyone hates them.
Hate too, man. Like I don't care about like DLC, you know, because it's like an option. But when GTA brings out the online, and the whole point of online is besides having fun, you know, is like trying to get the new cars they come up with, you know, try to get new good house. But it makes
Yeah.
it impossible, man. Because besides like trying to grind and get the money like you want to get something you want to get.
You're right. Yeah, you pretty much have to get it.
They
It's
added
just
to
so
get
cramped in
money.
your face. Oh, you're absolutely right. It
Yeah,
hugely affects
but
the
Rockstar
game.
came with this idea, you know, like you don't want to pay those extra hours, you get all that money. Oh, we have our microtransactions here, man. They're just making it worse, man. And besides that, like I won't complain. Like you had to pay like how much, like 100,000, how much it costs
Yeah, you
just to
cost
get
$100
like instant money.
for 8 mil, which could get you 2 cars and a CEO office at that much. If you're lucky, if you can choose
Yeah,
right.
but the point about it too.
$100, that's
Yeah,
enough to get you
but
2 GTA
the
5
cars,
games, and you're only able to get 2 cars with it. People are fighting over top of you.
like okay, like I won't complain a lot, man. If the cars, you know, like you waste your money like this, man. Like you wasted like a million, man,
Oh yeah,
and you
don't
had to
worry about
keep
me.
up.
Yeah, I completely agree. Huge waste of money. Most people in GTA, the GTA YouTubers specifically,
And
are just trying to remind you that there's other ways to get the money, other than, you know, like there's other ways that you can get the content without getting the DLC, and all the YouTube videos out there exist just to kind of show you off different ways, you know, like Gypsy and all of those fucking Pyreal Gaming and shit, they're just all there just to
Yeah.
show you different ways to avoid having to pay that huge fee that they're trying to charge you. Which, you know,
Oh,
you can look at how
got killed.
ridiculously difficult the missions get in GTA. You know, each DLC they get harder and the prices get
Oh
higher
yeah.
just to encourage people to
Oh
pay more. But something else that I want to talk about now is something that a point that Jim Sterling brought up, which was a really fucking good point, is the reason why other games won't succeed when they try and copy the same game model is like because we already have our fucking
yeah.
Overwatch, you know? The reason why Battleborn died so quickly is because Overwatch already exists. So why would they bother buying an Overwatch clone, you know?
Yeah.
So when we've got other live services,
It's just like a
which
copy and
people are
paste
just
game.
copying because they see something and like, oh, that's successful, let's do that. And the thing is, that doesn't work because they already
Yeah.
have that thing. So why would they go and buy yours? You know, they already got that game. It's already there. Everyone's already playing it. Huge market, especially if it's online. Because if people are getting different online
No.
games, and there's going to be less people playing that online game, there's going to be less people to actually be online with. You know, so it doesn't work. You know, there's
Yeah.
already an outlet like World of Warcraft and Overwatch. So there's no point in making more. And everyone just does this thing where it's like, oh, FPS games are big, oh, the survival games big, so let's just do it. It's like, no, there's already fucking Doom and COD, you know? There's already Minecraft and Rust. Like, you just keep making these and you're just gonna be less successful versions of them.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. Like especially like Overwatch Battleborn, like Battleborn is a mess, man, in my screen. I feel like it's a mess. Like it doesn't look as efficient like as Overwatch. Like in
Exactly.
Overwatch, you can see everything clearly. So it's not.
Exactly.
So there's no point in getting Battleborn. Like Battleborn could have done better, man. Like it's not a
Yeah.
bad game.
And every
They,
game that tries to beat Overwatch,
they,
the thing is, everyone that knows Overwatch is like, oh, they're doing another game, you know, Evolve, that will be big, or Law Breakers, that will be big. There's so many
yeah,
games that were published within the last couple of years since Overwatch and during when Overwatch was launching. They're like, oh, it's pretty much, you know, the same kind of game that Overwatch is, and it tries to cater to the same crowd. But all of them were consumed by it. All of them were failures. They did not succeed or live up to Overwatch at all. Overwatch just took the cake with it. Just absolutely took it. Because it's already a big, massive
yeah.
multiplayer online game out there for it.
Oh, definitely, man. It's like I got reminded about like a good example like Call of Duty and Battlefield, you know? Like when
Yeah,
Battlefield
exactly.
1 came out, like Call of Duty knew that was hitting, but they came
Yeah,
out with
and
Call of Duty
Battlefield
World War II.
actually, funny that
But
you
I
bring that
think,
up, is what Jim Sterling actually used because when I think it was one of the first Battlefield games, I can't remember what it was, Battlefield Bad Company or some shit. They actually reused the same assets from Call of Duty while trying to insult it subtly within the game, and it didn't blow over well. They had copyright strikes and you know, like copyright infringement problems between Call of Duty and Battlefield when they did that game. We haven't seen any of those Bad Company games or whatever, the ones that everyone begs for. I think they only had like two of those sort of games, or they just did normal Battlefield games, you know, like
yeah,
Battlefield 3 and 4 with like 17 DLCs. But yeah,
oh yeah,
you can't just do the same fucking game because that game already exists, you know? Like GTA 5's been out there for 5 years now. People already
yeah,
have it, you know?
oh yeah, yeah.
The
Like I
last,
don't think like nobody has tried like besides Saints Row. Like Saints Row was like the
yeah,
competition for GTA. Like GTA
yeah.
5 came
But
out and
But yeah,
like
GTA 5 is the biggest, and I'm
everybody
probably
forgot about
gonna
Saints
do
Row.
another video on why that one's the biggest and so forth. I'll get into that later because it certainly does good things. It's just like, you know, the multiplayer you absolutely fucked up. You massively fucked up. And again, I'm not going to
Oh
blame
yeah.
Rockstar because Rockstar they have supported single player mods. When Take Two Interactive wanted to sue single player mods
Oh
because they were
yeah.
like, you know, that's stopping people from playing online and that's stopping us from getting currency. That's against the law and all this shit. Rockstar actually stepped in and said, it's fine as long as it's single player and it doesn't
Yeah, the
affect
mod.
online. They actually went to Take Two and said, don't do this. So I actually really admire that they did that. They went out of their way specifically to tell their their publisher. So that just really shows in your face that everything wrong with GTA right now, microtransaction wise, is all just Take Two's fault. The
That's
publisher's fault, which I've said in one of my previous videos before. I don't blame the dev team. It's all the publisher. I mean, you can also look at Visceral Games and Dead Space as well, which is all like everything wrong with the series and why it died, and it wasn't such a good horror game. At least by the third game was all because of EA and how they wanted to change the game specifically so it would be like other successful games of the time, like co-op online games, which they didn't want to originally make
oh
a
yes.
co-op online game where you shoot human enemies and have microtransactions in it. But of course, they ended up getting it forced in because they were forcing it right down their throats. Because, it was quite a successful game at the time, Dead Space and all. But it just straight up killed the franchise, and Visceral
Oh yeah.
Games shortly left. It was another murder victim of EA, as we call it, one of the thousands that they've killed over the years. Which is a shame.
It's like the whole mess about microtransactions and how it was a pay to win
Exactly,
game.
exactly. And the reason why that
Like
one
people
specifically, because
complain a
there are
lot.
other games that are doing that exactly. The reason why Battlefield is getting so much shit, and EA specifically, is because EA's been doing this shit for years, and people are getting fucking fed up with it. I mean, like I just said, with
Oh,
what is it? Fucking Dead Space. That was
like,
like how many years ago was that? I think that was like 6 years ago now or some shit. So that was quite a while ago. Plus 2 years in a row, they were rated the worst company in the US or the world or whatever.
in
And
America.
considering that's
Yeah.
2 years in a row, this isn't just the gaming industry. This is the worst company, period. So that means that they're comparing it to like gas companies and shit. They say they are looking at EA and say they were the worst. So that says a lot about the gaming industry in EA.
I know,
It
and in
shows that
gaming
I'm not just
industry, like
talking
in
crazy
gaming, like
like conspiracy theory shit. It's like no, they are actually this manipulative. I mean,
oh
they
yeah.
employ psychologists. If you look at Chris Lee, the guy that's pushing on the politics in America for loot boxes, he's actually said that he's heard from whistleblowers in the gaming industry that they do employ what is it psychologists into gaming industry specifically. You know, well, he didn't say outright that he was to push microtransactions, but considering all that I've said and other YouTubers have said, it's kind of hard to miss that. They probably
Yeah.
are using it to see how they can put it into monetization schemes. I mean, then again, there is the patent that was published live for both Activision and EA. I can post that patent as well because I still got that thing open, for Hank, Hank, which is a AI that they're using to track you. Like, that shit was conspiracy level, I would admit. That Hank shit is somewhat hard to believe because it's so conspiracy theory. But, clever
Yeah,
bot
you,
does exist and shit, but regardless, it does have the advertising of loot boxes in games, which I show off, and it does get onto that psychology something that I've talked about in the past before. So, yeah, I will link it. I'm not sure if it will be
like
the first link or whatever,
but the last straw, like EA will continue doing it, man. They will
They will. That's why
continue
everyone's
using
complaining,
micro,
because
but
they're
the
sick
thing,
of it. And another
yeah,
reason why the EA's Battlefront 2 has been looked so down upon when they've been doing these procedures as opposed to other games is because there is a game with the exact same title and the exact same plan that has already been made as a full complete game with
But
many features the other game doesn't have, and like, you know, none of the grinding crap or anything. Like I said, they specifically put in with, you know, that video I told you to watch, you know, what is it, Assassin's Creed microtransactions, where they
yeah,
specifically put in the grind, so they can put in
yeah,
paywalls that they're like, you don't have to pay for it, but you can, which is again that manipulative strategy by the psychologist, just so you pay for it.
like to not make it look bad.
Yeah, exactly. So you look like the good guy at
Yeah,
the same time as giving the option to pay, which is fucking scummy. Instead, they'll point you to the store page for this War of Mine, where they actually have a War Child charity, where all of the proceeds for them actually go to that, and they built the whole game around specifically expressing this charity and, you know, the refugees, which the charity goes towards, which is, you know, the exact opposite of what's going on here. You know, because they're not trying to play themselves out to be good
oh yeah,
guys here,
definitely, man.
or any of that fucking bullshit, or manipulate you. So
But
they already have Star Wars Battlefront 2, you know. So people look at Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then they look at EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2, which has the same title, because when people search up Star Wars Battlefront 2, it'll come up with the most recent game, the most recent result, rather than the old one. So if someone says they want
yeah,
to play Star Wars Battlefront 2, and they're referring to the old one, then when people don't know about it, like a mother for instance, they're like, okay, I'll look into that. They will find the new one, EA's one. So it's essentially deleting the history of the old one, but people remember it. That's the whole reason why they're buying into this. They compare the old one to the new one, and they're like, what the fuck is this
the new one,
business
yeah.
plan? Why is the game half complete and you're pushing you're building the entire game. The entire game for Star Wars Battlefront, of all the others, is undeniably the entire game is built around
Microtransactions, man.
microtransactions. Microtransactions first, game later. There's barely any game in there. There's
Yeah.
barely any. Like, it's absurd.
It's like in that Reddit, like
I
only
talked
to
about
get
what
Darth
I love
Vader, it would
services
take you
earlier. This
40
is
hours.
before a YouTube video. But yeah, it takes, originally, before they took it out, because they have taken it out now, it would take 40 hours to get loot. Yes, if you're not paying for loot boxes, but now they're giving the free loot boxes, which, as I
Wow.
said, free
Yeah.
loot boxes, and it being just cosmetic, which is not just cosmetic in that anyway. The free loot boxes, again, is
Yeah.
just advertisement to the paid ones you can get later. It's just to get you addicted, so you're more likely to spend on the ones you can buy. It's not like, oh, they're giving it to me for free, so I'll never have to pay. No, they're planning to get you addicted.
You know, fuck no.
It's just cramming fucking advertisement into
Like-
my game. I don't want ads in my game. And I'll post the I'll post the thing that EA specifically wrote themselves in their words, the pattern. They published it, right? So it's their words, not mine. They are saying that, you know. That is
But you
actually
know, like
ads
why
put into
people start
the
complaining
game.
now?
So I don't want to hear that person that complained on my review of Killing Floor 2 for having free loot boxes. Well, it's just cosmetic, or it's, you know, you can get it for free. It's like, it's ads in my game. I don't
Yeah.
want this. They shouldn't be doing this.
It's like in PUBG right now, man.
Exactly.
Like
PUBG.
PUBG.
And another thing with live
Yeah,
services,
PUBG.
another thing is, if it's not in there in the beginning of the game, no one knows about it, you know. When you buy the game, when it first comes out, you're like, oh, you know, it doesn't have loot boxes, so it's fine now. But the thing is, with EA, they're just thinking, you know, wait until the press dies down on it, you know, wait until it's like a year in, and then they publish it. Because, for instance, with
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Clancy's Greenlands or whatever, it's like an open world game, I haven't really played it. 3 years after its release, they decided to put in loot boxes. For instance, 3 years after. That's from Ubisoft. They already have Assassin's Creed, which on its own should already earn enough profits to get back how much they spent, because that's the excuse
Yeah.
they use for having microtransactions, right? That's a whole plan of the business model of live services, right? So that's their excuse, and shit, what was I saying? Yeah, they put microtransactions in Assassin's Creed Origins. So what's the point in putting it in that 3-year-old game? You know? Why? The only reason
Yeah.
is because they're not earning.
It's
all
just
the
like
money,
to make money they didn't make. Yeah.
Exactly. just as like Jim Sterling has already said, it's not about earning money back to gain profits. It's about earning all the money you can possibly get. This is why everyone calls EA greedy fuckers. Because currently, as you know, EA is
Great
the
type.
second biggest publisher in the entire gaming industry, being second only to Activision, of course. Which, as you know,
Yeah, Call
is
of
kind
Duty.
of hard to tell one apart from the other, considering everything. But I guess nowadays you would be able to tell
But the
because
difference between the
one's
two.
getting smashed down for the loot boxes, whereas the other ones, I wouldn't
Oh
say
yeah.
straight up getting away with it, but getting away with it a lot more than fucking EA is. That's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Destiny is only cosmetic, but everyone's already hounding on that the most. Which I'm glad because, like, I'm so sick of hearing that defensive argument point of, like, it's just cosmetic, so it doesn't affect the game, which Jim Sterling has already given a point for that one, where it's like, especially with Destiny, online games, which is where they put live games as a service, unless they're stupid and they're Warner Brothers and they do it in a single player game, which didn't fucking blow over well for them at all, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
There's a whole online game. You just, specifically with Destiny, everyone knows, for instance, with Dark Souls, fashion shows, everyone just likes to dress
Yeah.
up and get out their costumes and look different. They want to stand out from the crowd. No one wants to stand in Mercy in
Yeah.
Overwatch, they want to stand out. They want to look different. They want to be appealing. For instance, with Killing Floor 2, which annoyed me that guy was bothering me because I put up a negative review on the game. Like, oh no, one person, but anyway.
Yeah.
With that, someone complained, you can just get it for free, and I responded back, that, like, the game specifically tells you that it's such a point of the game to stand out that the game actually tells you in a loading screen tip, as if it's going to change combat, is like, oh, you need to look good while you're killing Zeds. So, get those loot boxes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, look, if you don't listen to my video on loot box advertising, if you don't take in any of that, or even what EA's published, because I'll link that again, as I did before, then, like, look at that, and can you tell me for a second that that doesn't seem like a fucking ad, Like, that's straight up just an ad to
Yeah,
be like,
in
buy
a
these
game,
loot boxes,
like a
they
AAA
impact
game.
the game, even though they're just cosmetic. It's like, just because they don't affect
Just
gameplay
play a
doesn't mean
game.
they don't affect the game, For instance, with Mass Effect, everyone's been hounding on how shit that game is, all their funny videos. They don't affect gameplay, it's just like some
Yeah.
weird animation of some dude walking funny. And they're just like,
Animation, yeah.
that is why it's getting tons of bad reviews. That doesn't affect the game, it's just bad animations. If looking bad doesn't affect the game, then explain Mass Effect. Andromeda, Like,
Yeah.
Andromeda, Like, it's an online game.
Like even though like the animation is bad, like it got some good sales.
Another
Like,
thing
it
is,
doesn't
like,
matter for
if
people.
it doesn't matter, then why are you trying to sell it? If
Yeah.
no one wants it, if it doesn't impact anything, then why are you putting a price tag on it? Why are you putting a price tag? Point in case.
Yeah, but this is crazy. Yeah. But the funny thing about Star Wars too is like people started complaining because FIFA and other games did it before. They already had too. But people
Yep.
started complaining only because it's Star Wars. Just because of that.
Exactly.
It's because a lot of people love the Star Wars universe. So when
I think it was just something that was
they
building up with EA, because people have complained. It's just like, it's only been gaming enthusiasts like myself, which isn't the majority, it isn't the mainstream community. It's just that when they have another game
Yeah.
to compare it to that's a complete game to that, as well as the fact that it's been building up over time, and they've always been pushing the envelope of how much the gaming industry, especially EA, can get away with. It's one of those things that it's like, you can do no wrong now, but after the shit set in, and after something bad happens to you, like Disney takes away your license to publish Star Wars games, then eventually you'll get to that point where you can do no right, which again is just, something else that Jim Sterling has said, which is a very, very good fucking point.
But the only wonder is like if EA will continue doing the same thing with Wars games. Like if
Oh
they came
yeah,
out with
of
another one,
course,
because like
dude.
this is comparing with the.
The worst fucking remake, because I've recently the gaming industry recently has been publishing a lot of remakes and remasters for games, which I'm loving. I love my old games, and I've always loved to be able to return to them. It's just
Oh yeah.
the graphics are the only thing that really puts me off some of them. Which nowadays, it doesn't bother me too much,
Like
but even on
Shadow of
gameplay,
Colossus.
yeah. I haven't got a PlayStation, so I haven't played that. But yes, yes. So, the worst one of which, though, because everyone kind of has the argument, was this worth it? Is this a good remake and so forth? The worst, the absolute worst remake or remaster that I've seen, yeah, was what Activision did. No, yeah, sorry. With
Oh,
what
Modern
was that?
Warfare.
Modern Warfare, yes. Because for the first thing, they published it not on its own, but as a deal to sell the other game because they know that they're hitting pretty bad with the fans.
Infinity,
No one
yeah.
wants to buy
Nobody
the
was
game,
going to buy
so
Infinity.
they were just like, let's force them into buying the new game in order to get the old game. So they have to spend full price because they were like, I don't know if we can sell that full price, just so they get it right. And then after that, they try and resell you the same fucking DLC that they sold like 10 years ago with the game. I mean, you look at something like Halo and they're like, oh, here's everything in the game, all DLCs, everything, just straight out the gate,
Oh yeah.
4 games in one, and we're not even gonna charge like fucking, well, they did charge full price, but like, it's 4 games, and then there's the DLC for another game.
Yeah.
The only DLC in that game was another game that wasn't a part of Master Chief, which was
It's,
in the name, the Master Chief
odds.
Collection, and it was $7, It wasn't like, oh, here's the same
Yeah.
map pack, for fuck's sake, and they did each one again. I mean, you're paying this thing for full fucking price. It's the same game that was released 15 years ago, and after that, they then released the game separately because enough people were begging for it, and they already fucking sold to everyone. It was a couple years later, and then they put in fucking loot boxes. Loot boxes, like, you already released this game, a full
In Modern
complete
Warfare
game, the
Remastered.
single most beloved game by the franchise, and you're like, let's fuck it up by
Yeah.
putting loot boxes into a game that originally didn't have it, and, we already tried reselling the fucking same map packs in the... How the fuck did they get away with that? Like, honestly, how have people not, like, gone crazy over that, for fuck's sake? I mean, you go on with Star Wars, but it's like, I just don't fucking understand the AAA industry, But,
Like the only difference I find in Activision and in EA, the difference is that one is pay to win and the other one is cosmetics. But it could be pay to win depending on the weapons they came out with. Like
well, a thing
sometimes
is,
they came out with
again,
like
you
new
know how
weapons.
you just said one's pay to win and the other's not? You're actually kind of wrong, because,
Yeah.
with Activision, I can't remember what game it was, I think it was Infinite Warfare, they originally released a game, didn't have loot boxes, and they released it later with loot boxes, and then after a while everyone was happy with it, because it's over time gradually, frog and boiling water shit, they were just like, oh, now that, oh, whoops, I just put in this code and I guess there's guns in the loot boxes too now. I already talked to,
Yeah, that's
I
what
had
I
a whole
meant. Yeah,
fucking
that's what I
video
meant.
specifically about Activision's World War II, and the reason why I wouldn't recommend it, even if you did like the Call of Duty or War Sim games and they finally returned to that, sure. Even though it's an overused fucking game, and that's why they stopped making fucking World War II games in the first place, because everyone was sick and tired of getting the same fucking game 5 times in a row, and they have done World War II 5 times in a row. Anyway, they try and fucking... Back then, I've just talked about how not only did they try and sell you guns in the game, they give an unfair advantage, the whole video was on specifically how
That's what
they
I meant, man.
advertised those guns, because they changed the whole way the matchmaking would work. Which, if you don't believe that you can change matchmaking like that, then look back at 2008 when they released Halo 3. They actually had things in place to check your statistics, check your level and so forth, and match you to people at the same level. That has existed since 2008, back when fucking
Yeah.
the Xbox 360 was new. So that's nothing at all new. So that advertising video is still completely informative. You know, it's not full of lies or bullshit. I spent months on end on those kind of videos getting researched. So I know they're all valid. I know all of my points.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the point I was trying to make out is that Activision, like the Call of Duty games, can be paid to win depending on how overpowered the guns can be. You
Mm,
know, and then it becomes a pay to win system.
yeah,
Because like in Rec, it was absurd how good some weapons were, and you had to
and I
fucking pay the
yeah,
supply drops just to get the weapon.
mm. And I have talked
And to make
about
it
in the
worse,
advertising
like the
video again,
rap
like
supply.
mm, about like the whole idea of why I make this video, because these loot boxes, they don't affect me. You know, well, I say that because like as Tarmac has said, you know, when you say, as he strongly believes and has said in multiple videos now, you know, when you say advertising doesn't affect you is the moment you are wrong. I'm not entirely sure that's true, but regardless, he gives a pretty strong point, which is like, with the advertising of Coca-Cola and Pepsi, you may say, you know, I don't fall for the advertising schemes of Coke or Pepsi. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not going for the short-term effect. It's not going for the short-term win, as I did in my advertising video. I'm a bit annoyed that I have to recap the same video. But
Yeah.
in that video, like I talk about this again, and they go for the long-term effect. They don't care if you are hypnotized by them or whatever. They just need you to remember Coke over Pepsi. So when you go to Macca's or whatever and they ask you for what drink, you just remember Coke before you do Pepsi.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's all they need for you to buy them. Same as loot boxes, you know. It's all they need. They're going for the long-term goal,
Yeah.
you know. It's all they need. They're going for the long
Yeah, man, that's just horrible. Like,
term.
I cannot believe how like a lot of people like don't realize it, even if they want to, they don't want to like realize it because just a simple
It
like a
affects
simple point
someone. It
like
affects someone,
about commercials.
and as I said, you know, the whole point
Yeah,
of the reason why YouTubers like us make these videos, even though we're not addicted to it or we don't have addictive tendencies, other people do, and we see this and we're saying, you know, this isn't okay. So we're talking up in favor of those people, you know, because it's affecting someone, and we need to be able to band together as a community and look at something controversial. That's the whole point why controversial things are a topic, and I'm quite annoyed that YouTube says, you know, don't talk about controversial topics, because that's how society works. We talk about controversial topics, you know, it's
yeah,
civilized, and we look at things, and this is how we define, you know, with the evolving age of technology, things will pop up, and you know, we're not always caught up legally and morally that we see something and we're like, okay, this is kind of in a grey area. How do we define whether this is good or bad? How do we define if this is okay? Well, that's how controversial topics are born, and we need to talk about this. This is how we grow and develop as a society. This is how we define what is and isn't acceptable, you know? So I'm annoyed that YouTube just says
yeah.
straight out, don't talk about these things, you know? It's like, well, why? It's like, I'm a member of society. Can I
Like
not
yeah,
talk about
YouTube.
these things? Like what?
What about
It's
freedom of speech? Yeah,
yeah. Well, that does only apply
like
to Americans, which freedom of speech is
yeah, but
referring to like
I'm being
no
general.
legal
Yeah,
prosecution when you talk about a topic, which I do think is pretty nice, and I wish the whole world had as well. But you know, it's only for America.
yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. It does relate to
America.
media, specifically games, that does affect worldwide. It is all covered worldwide by that law, even though it's only in America. Um, but yeah,
But like what you're talking about, man, like a prime example, like a daily basis routine when we see commercials, YouTube. Like YouTube didn't used to have ads, and now they popping up with ads and like new rules and things like that. And
yeah. Which
with
the
that,
age
you already like
censorship and
kind of getting attached to something.
monetization is what I'm referring
Yeah,
to as to you know, that you one of the biggest things that I'm like, I can kind of understand where you're coming from with all the others, but like controversial topics is like,
Yeah,
what even? That's the one that it's like that makes no sense to anyone, you know? Like you're just
it
trying to
doesn't. Yeah,
silence
it
people's
doesn't.
voices, you know? Like
So
you
you
want
want
people
to
to
add
talk
it?
about these things, you know?
Yeah.
It's how society functions. It's how you be a proper functioning member of society is to talk about these things and resolve issues.
And like, yeah, and like if YouTube keep this up, I bet you like YouTube can die. Independent, like not right now, but like in later years, you know.
But
I give
another
it
thing that I
like
just want
around
to talk
15
about,
years
just to
probably.
finish up on, because it's getting quite lengthy. You know, you can have a statement as
Yeah.
well before we send off. I want to say two things. One thing is my friends look at some of these videos and so forth, the ones that actually listen to me, not the ones that are like, oh, this is boring, I hate your facts, you know, I have short attention spans, I can't handle this. But I need the game to like, and some people look at this and they think I'm talking about the entire industry all being bad like this. Well, I want to just say that, you know, not
Oh
everyone in
no.
the industry is bad. Like, for instance, the people that make Hunter World have already outspoken about it. You know, 11-bit
Oh
Studios,
yeah.
which I just praised before for making a good one, doesn't do this. Just about any indie dev, I won't say all indie devs, but just about any indie devs don't do it. Because they don't have to deal with publishers for one. And
Yeah.
as well, CD Projekt Red is one of the best ones, probably the biggest AAA publisher
Oh
out
yeah.
there that is alright. And they have actually released a statement saying that, you know, we actually like and encourage this conversation because someone was worried that even they would go over to the dark side with microtransaction bullshit. And they actually released a statement saying we are actually glad for this because it's showing the industry what people are and aren't okay with, and it is developing the industry to being back to what it used to be about passion creation projects and making good products that people want and want to buy to support and have fun with, because it used to be an industry where you just saw something, you're like, oh, it's cool, I want to buy it and have some fun. It didn't used to be like a moral dilemma
Yeah.
in buying something, you know? Like, there weren't manipulative tactics by fucking psychologists that were employed into like these 800 fucking group people, which by the way, 800 people made Star Wars EA, 800 people worked on that. Whereas there was only like 250
Yeah.
people that worked on Star Wars Battlefront 2 2005, which is hilarious considering the amount of different game modes and maps and content that was in the old one that wasn't in the new one. But you know,
But
they worry about monetization before they worry about actual gameplay again. But something else that I want to say just
yeah.
before I go, you know, because there are other games, I'm just saying, like, just know that microtransactions are meant to be manipulative. They're
From
meant to
software, like
manipulate
is
you.
one
That's
good
why they
example
exist.
too.
And just be a little skeptical when you go to buy something because we don't want to support these kind of practices, you know. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I am concerned about those people that have addictive tendencies and those that want to manipulate people. It quite disgusts me, you know, and I'm gonna get fucked up.
Only from before
And
time, like they took.
yeah,
Oh,
you know,
now
it
like
just
they even have more people hired just to
yeah, they
make
do.
them came with the games. Yeah, just to have the games more faster and make more money. It's not even
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
game;
that's
it's
the
about
whole
the money now.
the fucking thing. Yeah, they think like day one DLC all
Yeah.
over again. Day one DLC. Worry about the monetization before anything else. Anyway, one last statement I want to say as well is there's a statement that a test, that I live by, which recently has been proven. Well, I don't know how recent it was, has been proven to be false by scientific studies, and it was one about a frog in boiling water, which I mentioned earlier in the video, and I have mentioned before, I believe. I will link it in the
Yeah.
description. It was a test where they put a frog in boiling water, and the frog obviously jumped out. But if they put it into cold water and slowly heat it up over time, then it would stay in and eventually just boil to death, you know. And the statement was
Yeah.
rather like, "Are we so different from the frog?" But you know, it was tested that the frog would always jump out. But the point remains. The
Right.
point
Yeah.
is always something that I live by, which is don't be the frog. You know, if the circumstances are gradually getting worse, you still need to point out that that is getting worse and that isn't okay. So, you know, as this strategy is, specifically as I pointed out, they plan to make it more gradual rather than just dump it on you, because EA found out with Star Wars Battlefront that you can't just dump it on people. You have to make it gradual, which they're already planning to do, and plenty of other games are already doing as we speak. Where they just make it gradual, you know, they don't release it on day one. They only leave it cosmetic for a little while, and then they put in guns later, you know. It's gradual. So
Yeah.
it's just like the boiling water, you know. So you've got to realize now that it's bad before you end up getting boiled, you know. Anyway, do you have any
Yeah.
statements?
No, man. I think everything was clear, man. You had a good point, and the case was solved.
Well, thank you. Anyway,
Yeah, man.
thanks for watching.